Hey there, and welcome to this view model tutorial for CG Tuts. Today we'll be talking about creating the textures and materials for our axe. So to get started, we want to open Photoshop or GIMP, but first you want to go to Firefox, search up 3ds Max VTF plugin, and you want to search up the Photoshop VTF plugin if you have Photoshop. Now, these two plugins will help you a lot and save a lot of time, so I suggest that you get them right now. Okay, so we'll jump into Photoshop. Here I've got our Team Fortress 2 palette. We've got the team colors right here, and we've got some metal colors right here. And so what we'll do is we'll go File, Open, and we'll go to our folder that we have the ambient inclusion map and the UV. We'll just open both of those. Okay, now once we got them both open, we want to grab the uv.png. We want to right click on the layer 0, duplicate layer, go to AO map, and we'll name this UV. Okay, we can X out of that. Now, what we want to do here is we want to rename our background here, but first we have to hold Alt and double click it. Alright, now just double click the name. We'll call this AO map. Okay, we'll zoom in here. We'll unhide the UV, and we'll make this blend mode to go to multiply, hit new layer, and pull it down below the AO map. And we just want to grab a color from the TF2 metal palette. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this color right here, darker one, hit OK. Go back to the AO map, hit Alt, backspace. Okay, create a new layer on top of that, and let's choose a color for our blade. Now, I really like this color right here, so we'll hit OK. And we'll select this right here, and we want to turn on our UV to make sure we're not overlapping any other areas. And right there, hit Alt, backspace. Control D to deselect, hide the UV, and we'll go back to the palette, and we want to pick one of these lighter colors, so I'm going to choose that one right there. And what we want to do is turn on our UV, zoom in a little, and we want to grab our quick selection tool, and want to go to our UV, and we just want to select these areas right here. Okay, now hold Alt to get over stuff that you don't want. For us, we just want the blade part. So, just do that. Okay, and we'll do the same for over here. Alt click, or hold Alt. Just break into these lines here. Okay, and we'll just do it for the last two right here. And you can hide the UV again. We can go back to the layer 2, or we can create a new layer. We'll hit Alt, backspace, hit Control D, and we'll just want to kind of clean this up. So to do that, we'll just grab our erase tool, and we'll just kind of erase these edges here. Okay. And for these gaps and stuff, what we want to just do is add some more in, get these edges, corners, stuff like that. Alright, and what we want to do is slightly blur these edges right here. So let's grab the blur tool, and we'll just kind of blur these edges. Just try to stay in a little like that. and this will kind of give it a more TF2 style. Grab that there. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to go up to File, Save As, and we'll choose VTF if you've got that VTF plugin installed, and we'll name this Axe Sheet. Hit OK. Alright, and the default options work, so we'll hit OK. And we'll go back to our 3D file, and we'll put this material against that, and we will just go to the diffuse, click that, bitmap, Axe Sheet. Go up one, and let's hit Show Standard Map and Viewport. Alright, so we've got this really cool blade with, you know, the edges and everything, and it looks like it almost has depth. And that definitely helps it out a lot. Let's go back here, turn on the UV, new layer, and let's just grab our brush tool, make things a little easy. And it's this part of the UV right here. Okay, now we can turn off the UV after we've got the edges. Make a brush a little bit bigger. Okay. And what we want to do for this one is we just want to turn down the opacity just a little, so it almost blends. Something like that. Hit File, Save, and we want to save it as our Photoshop file called Axe Sheet. Okay. Now we'll go File, Save As, and then VTF Axe Sheet. Go to 3ds Max. We'll click and click it again, and now we've got a kind of silverish middle piece there. Okay, and what we want to do next is make this handle into a wood, just this part right here, and we'll leave that as the dark greenish look. Okay, so we'll go to Photoshop again and turn on the UV, and we'll just choose the part where we want the wood to be. So that is right here. Okay, and we want to make a new layer, and we just want to mess around with the colors of the wood. So we could go look in an existing VTF, or we could just kind of choose our own color. So that right there is good for me. So I'll just zoom in here, and what we want to do is we want to grab our paintbrush, turn down the size to like 3, and maybe even the opacity to like 38. See how that looks. Turn it to black and white. Turn off the UV. Let's turn down the opacity a little. Okay, that works. And we just want to reselect what we had before. So, something like that. Okay, grab our paintbrush again. We just want to start painting some lines in here. Kind of make it look like wood. Make more lines in certain areas. Okay, and I want to add one of those like roundish things. Okay, kind of just do something like that. Okay, add some more lines in. And then we'll File, Save, We'll file save as, and then we'll save it as our VTF again. Okay, now we've kind of got that wood handle. Doesn't look right, but that's what we're going to fix next. And we want to make that cap that wood color too. So we'll go into Photoshop again, grab that color, do a new thing, Control D, and I think it's this one right here. So I'll just grab my elliptical tool and make it just a little bit bigger, Alt backspace, Control D, and I'll unhide the UV, or hide it. Okay, and what we want to do is draw a couple of things in here too. So if we can grab our black and white again, try something kind of like something like that. And what we could do is Control click that right there, and to make this really cool we could go double click, we could go into here, find bevel and emboss, and we could do something like that. Hit OK, Control D, file save as, and we'll save it as our axe sheet. Okay, pop it open, on and off. Now we've kind of got this beveled, embossed look, which can definitely help it. Alright, so basically we've got our axe textured, and one thing we want to do before we end texturing it is adding some like wear and stuff on the edges and on the handle, and then we'll add the little box kind of brush effect. So what you want to do is you want to create a new layer. You want to grab black and white, or click this little thing right here, and we'll go to brush, and just grab any square brush and go to the brush properties. We want no spacing. Okay, and we'll just close this, and what we want to do is we want to just create very faintly just tiny brush strokes. So something like that. Switch the colors to white. Something like that. Just draw around. Have fun with that. Add some things in the blade. Like that. And we could switch it one more time. Scale it down. Now you don't want to overdo this because it'll kind of ruin your model if you do too much of it. So just, I mean, like the wood handle, I did a little bit too much there, but it doesn't look horrible. I'm trying to make it better with these black stripes, kind of contrasting it. Okay? And what we can do is we can just turn down the opacity of this whole layer to make it look a little bit even more, just very, very faint. Okay? And after that, we just want to create the wear and tear. So let's go new layer. We want to switch it. We want to turn up the opacity just a little. And we'll try a test here. Just a little bit more. We want to kind of imitate the color there. Okay, so that's pretty good. And what we can do is zoom in here, scale it down, kind of just create wear on these edges, things like that. That really helps. Let's turn down the opacity just a little. We could scale it way down, kind of come out like that. And just kind of mess around with it like that. I like to take the bigger kind of brushes. I like to grab the rectangular tool and do something like that. Grab my brush again and do stuff like that. Okay. Control D. Can do it to this side of the blade too. Come down here to the wood. Now the wood's very important. The wood pretty much needs it every corner it has. So we'll just create kind of a something like that. Some around the edges. And I mean, if you get a little on some other thing, it's fine because it still ends up looking more Team Fortress 2 styled. Okay, and what we can do is make really small details on some of these. For the little screw, we can do that, switch it, scale it down, do something like the middle of the screw, just to add a little of detail. Hit File, Save, File, Save As, and we'll just save this as our Axe Sheet VTF. Hit OK. Go to 3ds Max again, and re-show it. Now, as you can see, it's a lot better with the texture. You can notice that there's some more Team Fortress 2 styled looks to it, especially in the back. You can see there. What we can do is we can show the hardware map. And that's basically what it really looks like. In Team Fortress 2, it'll look a little brighter than that, but this turns up the pixels on some of the things. So, alright, now we're done. We'll just go ahead and hit save. And we'll go to Start. Go to Windows Explorer. We'll go to our folder that had those items, like the Axe Sheet. We'll Control C as our Axe Sheet is selected. We'll go to C, Program Files, Steam, Steam Apps, your username, Team Fortress 2, TF, Materials, Models, Weapons, and then we want to put it in C Items. Control V, Axe Sheet. Now you want to grab a different file, a VMT, which you can grab from the GCF materials, and we'll double click this, something like this. Let's try to match something that looks like our axe here. So something like the claymore. So we'll Control C the claymore, Control V, and we'll rename it Axe Sheet. Okay? We'll open it with Notepad or Notepad++, and we can just edit this. For now, we want to change the weapons, C items, C claymore to Axe Sheet. Now, what this does right here is it points to our VTF. This has to point to our VTF, and it adds some extra things like Fong. Okay? So we can that's very simple, we're done with that. We just want to get rid of things like the Fong warp texture, and we'll hit save. Now we can X out out of that, and now we've created our VMT and our VTF. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you had a great time. Hope you learned a lot. And we'll see you next time when we'll be compiling the model and finishing it up. See you then.